o'clock, I will call this regular city council meeting on June 25th to order. If you will rise, I'll read some information followed by the pledge. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the many blessings you've given each of us in this city. Be with us as we move through tonight's agenda and help us to make wise decisions for this city. Be with all those that are sick and hurting. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you have planned to comment during citizen comment, please seek your name. At this time, we will begin citizen comment.
No one's requested, sir.
At this time, we'll have introduction of new city employees. We'll now consider an approved minutes from the May 28th regular meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as read? Make a motion to approve the minutes as read. Motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve monthly departmental reports: Police Department, Fire Department, EMS, Code Enforcement, Animal Control, Landfill, Water, Streets and Parks, Municipal Court, monthly financial reports, sales tax collection, property tax collection reports, and LEC, A, B, minutes reports, matters. If you have a question, please identify the page. Questions? Can we get a motion to approve the departmental reports? Is there a second? I'll second. Motion's been made by Buddy, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we will have a public hearing for requested special use overlay for 1900 West First Street agricultural regarding construction of wireless and telecommunications commission. Rundown.
I have a request for a communication tower, 50-foot tower on 1900 West First Street, and allowed by special use. Looked into the request. Note that a little bit of a glitch. The original survey said 72 acres, and actually the application was for 10 acres, which is located within the 72 acres. We talked to a legal, and their recommendation was to go ahead and go forward with the application because it is a smaller area than the original requested area. And I agree with their recommendation to go ahead with it. All the notifications were properly for us.
At this time, I will close this regular city council meeting and open up the public hearing. If you have comment on this agenda item, please approach the podium, give your name and address for the record, if you have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this item? If none, I will close this public hearing and reopen the regular city council meeting. We'll move to number 9. Consider and approve the resolution final report recommending approval and an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, allowing for its special use overlay 1900 West First Street regarding construction of wireless telecommunications. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Page 107, item number 8. Last section of that number says the special use designation will become avoid the sale of the property, considering that it's a construction of a telecommunications tower, while that telecommunications tower is used as special use, should be in place, not whether it's the original owner or the property that's sold.
This part of the ordinance where it reverts back with the sale of void because it's special to the applicant rather than land.
It's the sunset clause.
Even though it's obviously it's a permanent structure. Is it a permanent structure? This is a temporary structure.
Well, no, I mean, it can be built and come down to, so.
We did discuss that some, and I believe that's pretty much the understanding of the renter and the landowner. That you don't got that consideration if it does sell, and it does some issues, you know. We're talking about 10 acres.
Is that standard in a situation like this?
So,
I've definitely seen it on property.
On a tower that has no other use other than telecommunications.
Same as with any other special use permit on anything zoning, it goes to that owner and to that property at that time of ownership, but if it's sold, that special use reverts back to new owners, part of that special use.
Definitely getting not a good position if you're looking into that property sales. That's why you have long leases on this thing.
So, what is the term of lease on it?
50 years, probably.
I mean, that's not in our scope.
Well, even if it's a leased property, it doesn't matter whether it's leased or not. It's if the owner sells it. It doesn't matter about the lease. Well, the lease is 250 years. If the owner sells it, that property reverts back to agriculture only.
Special use.
Special use just
Becomes void.
goes away.
It's in their best interest not to sell the property while the tower's on it. If you sell the property, the tower will be come down.
That doesn't sound normal. That doesn't sound right. I just don't. That's part of the reason why zoning is ridiculous.
Other comments or discussion?
Well, are the owners and the leasees agreeing with this? I mean, obviously, if somebody builds this tower and spends whatever amount of money it is, and they sell it next week,
Who are the owners right here?
okay. Well, I don't know what your plans are. I don't know what's going to happen. Are you the landowners themselves?
Yes,
So, but you're not the lease. What is it? The
I'm
tower?
not the lease, and I haven't read that lease or the agreement on it probably about 3 or 4 years because it was made in 2015. And for one thing, the tower is not 100 feet, but it's supposed to be like 170, 175 feet. And where the 10 acres come in at was when we sold the 10 acres to Lowe's Truck Stop. They had seen that they thought that the land that we owned, that the tower was going on, was 10 acres. When we was here last Tuesday night, they realized that they had made a mistake. That land is, 77.1 acres? I think that's what it is, that we still own. Of course, Lowe's has a first right of refusal on all of the rest of the land that we own on that property. And I don't remember anything in the contract where it says that if we sell that land, that the tower comes down or anything like that. The contract is a automatic renewed contract, and the way it's written, it could go up to 250 years.
That's fine and dandy, but if you sell that property, according to what they're saying down here,
I don't remember anything on that where it's saying that that tower and all that would have to come down.
what they're saying is that special use will go away, and they would have to get a reapplication for that.
Yeah.
Which seems to me like, why can't we take that out of there?
Just
As a city, why can we not remove that from that clause.
Because the special use permit is for the applicant. But that doesn't convey that.
Did y'all apply for the special use permit?
No, Frank's Towers did. They're the ones that's putting the
So
tower.
you're talking about the sale of the tower itself. Which also seems kind of weird because the tower's still going to stay up there, whether it's Verizon's tower or Sprint's tower or whoever's tower, it's still going to be a tower. For as long as it's good, right?
Right. Verizon is the one that started this and made the original contract. Then that contract was sold to Frank's Towers. They're going to be building the tower. It's going to be theirs. They are renting the space on it to Verizon. And according to what the lady was telling me last Tuesday night, that they are hoping to be able to get other companies to rent on that tower also.
But now we have some clarification needs to be made, whether it's the leasing or the land that the property changes, because they're the ones who actually asked for the zoning request. So if Branch Communications sells it to,
Okay, yeah, so Branch Communication LLC is the applicant. So they are the ones that are being granted the special use permit.
there's no way for this council to remove that clause from the ordinance.
No, that is their special, that special designation become void. It's specific to the applicant.
So we have no control over what goes in this ordinance. Who's making the wording in the ordinance?
Well, that's, I mean, we can look more at it, but that's.
Our zoning ordinance specifies how special uses are handled.
And we can also make adjustments to the special clauses and special recommendations. I mean, as these things aren't set in stone, obviously. We're making a special use clause, so we can change the special use to make it work for the building in the situation. If it was let's say for instance, auto repair shop, obviously that could be anything else if it closed down, right? But we're talking about a 170-foot tower that's used for communications. Am I missing something here? Is there any other use for a 170-foot tower than communications?
Pretty sure that this, whatever the name of this company is going to be smart enough if they sell this tower that they're going to be talking to the buyer and it will be that they will come back and ask for a new special.
But that doesn't mean that the city council at that time will approve it.
Now, other than the zoning ordinance, changing it, going through 2 months of changes, delaying these guys, yeah, you can do that. If you want to reamend the zoning ordinance. I make a motion we approve this ordinance, banning this special use. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll consider and approve tax deeds for trust properties in the city of Littlefield from Texas Community Group, property ID 19162, 19223, 19202, and 20267. Those tax deeds are on page 5. Always they have clawback provision if they're not brought up to code.
Check these bidders out and they're on, demolition. Taxes are covered.
All of the bidders are in good standing with the city as part of this, yes, delinquent bills and codes. Motion to approve these tax deeds.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion's been made by Buddy, seconded by Kenny. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next, Next, we will consider and approve an ordinance replacing Article 13.103 of the City of Littlefield Code of Ordinances, providing for regulations regarding the collection of solid waste, providing for continuation of prior ordinance for pending proceedings, providing for a penalty up to $2,000 according to Section 1.01.009 for the violation thereof, and providing for effective date.
Hopefully I've covered all of the direction that you gave me at the last meeting. There's no, under no deadline or anything to this, so fine and dandy. I know guys have been really focusing on trying to get the alleys clean, get caught up. Anyway, what we've come up with is this same alley removal material, except that we're no longer going to allow people to place material behind other people's property. That's just, I think, the core of the major problem is people can't maintain behind their own property if somebody's dumping on them, can't mow, can't do anything. So this would require people to get behind their own property. Enforcement is never going to be 100% on this because people are going to dump couches and you can't really tell where the couch comes from, and we're going to generally just have to pick it up. That's what we can do. But at least this will help in the right direction, I think. Also, to get the alley pickup, we need to show some kind of a hardship. I mean, we're not going to be judged on hardships. If somebody has a pickup and they have ability to haul off a mattress or a couch or something to the convenience station to the landfill, they should do it. So this is all intended to try to keep the town cleaner looking, and just another step, I think, toward cleaning up the city. So hope you'll have time to look through the ordinance. Don't let me know what you need to change anything, or you want to go forward with it.
Just a couple of questions. Not too much. On page 153, number 2 is the column, where it says 153. It says that if more than minimal work is necessary in making such collection, a reasonable charge should be made for such service. Any idea what a reasonable charge would be?
I'm charged according to each type of material has a standard weight per yard, and then what we'll do is we'll measure the yards and cubic yards, and then we'll use that number. Say it's heavy bulk material, at 650 pounds per yard. So we'll estimate that according to the size, and then we'll charge them if there's extra amount of material that we have to pick up. But that's going to be on a just kind of case-by-case basis. Hopefully we won't be doing very many of those, but it does come up, so we just have to do what we want to do.
Page 156. I know this has been in this is just a repeat of the ordinance. It says that any city customer receiving a monthly utility service bill will be allowed to dump up to 4 cubic yards. And you said a cubic yard is 600 pounds?
Cubic yard is I think we've kind of tried to make that close to what the old ordinance used to be. I think it said a yard.
It said 4. It said 4 cubic yards. I saw it. But the point is that when we take
What number is that? What number is it?
very top, 1 on 156. What I'm asking is, when you take this to the landfill, obviously they measure the weight of whatever you take out there. So if you're taking your landfill in this situation where that's talking about, then why don't we just have weight amount on it? Because you're not going to be measuring the size of the load out of the landfill.
Yeah, that's when I was. Yeah, that was in there previously. That's when I have that close. But what we can do is go in there and just add cubic yards, or we'll come up with a tonnage weight number that is comparable to that number.
Yeah, I thought it went down to 9,000. I thought it was that.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to to guess sometimes because somebody has loose material that doesn't pay very much, and then somebody has heavy boards packed in there.
There's no limit on the number of times anybody can take something to the landfill. It's just a limit on the amount per month for that customer.
There's a limit on how much free.
Right, free. So, but that's what I'm saying.
They start paying after
For
a
that
certain
customer.
time. We really don't have that many people dump that much free material that's not construction material. And when you get into construction material, we'll make them pay for it. But it's a lot. If somebody has a couple of boards or something in there, no, but if you've got a complete remodel of your home and back to pick up your trailer, yeah, we'll probably charge.
So are you going to work on that way?
I can change that number 1 there, no problem.
And
Matter of fact, you can approve it if that's all you really
well,
have
number 2 also down there, 1 hazard and 2 hazard as well.
on
On that same page.
the yards. Yeah, that's not, y'all can approve it with those changes if you're ready to approve it or not.
And what would that change be? You said a number, but you didn't say what would be.
On the cubic yards, we'd say 4 cubic yards, or the typical number is 650 pounds for compacted municipal waste that's non-producible. So I'd just say 650 times 4, 2,600 pounds.
Greater, 2,600 pounds per month.
Yeah.
Per $1.
Yeah. We don't hit that very often. People will clean up and then that's it. But if, occasionally we'll get a contractor that tries to kind of use the system a little bit, but not very often.
How's the convenience station been working out with?
It's convenient. It's, we're getting a lot of people out there. Lance, I haven't talked to Lance in the last week about that, but we only get usually about 4 or 5 customers. I'm thinking that once we start enforcing these regulations, hopefully they'll be starting to take advantage of that. And if we get enough people going out there, then I think we should look at expanding the time. But it doesn't really pay us to sit out there for hours and nobody shows up. But if we start getting lines out there, maybe a little bit, some more, like on different days, at least.
I think we need to do a better job of advertising this and letting
Right.
citizens know if this is available prior to starting the enforcement. I mean, we can go ahead and do what we need to do tonight.
Well, if y'all approve this tonight, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put out a pretty good campaign on this too. A lot of people already think it's not legal to put your material behind somebody else's property, which is good. So we really kind of got people thinking in the right way. Now we'll have the rules to enforce it. If people call all the time and say, somebody put a pile of limbs behind my house.
What's going to happen in that?
Right now it's legal, but
If somebody does that, puts a pile of limbs behind somebody's house, and if it's not there, they put a pile of limbs behind my house. I say, listen, I got a pile of limbs behind my house. What's going to happen there? Is the city going to come out and do that?
yeah, we'll probably put a note on the door or something that says if you're gonna, you need to get an exemption first. If not, you can take it to the citizen collection station or to the landfill, or preferably cut it up in a dumpster. But
So there's going to be a time period that you'll have some notification rather than just giving out
yeah, we're not
a
gonna.
permit, a violation.
Yeah, we're not gonna go when it's burned. We'll definitely make sure we
So that's going to take some
get the public to know.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance with the changes recommended by Mr. Grant.
Is there a second? Second. Motion's been made by Ben, seconded by Eric, that we approve this ordinance with the additions of the poundage on it as well. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next, we will consider and approve a directive regarding development of a new aquatic center. Mitch?
Written you kind of a semi-lengthy memo on swimming pools. A little brief history there. We looked at trying to rehab the Crescent pool, and then we also looked at some ways to do a residential type pool, just a bigger. And we kind of learned some lessons there on the state requirements for filtration, and so we kind of backed off of that. We did council elected to receive donations until we had enough money to start work on the swimming pool. Today we've got around $200,000 that's been donated, and out of that, not out of that, actually, we purchased the property, so that $200,000 is the total we have so far to build the swimming pool. I'd like to offer my experience. I just completed back in 2012, I completed a swimming pool in Vernon, and it's a very nice swimming pool, and we built probably about $500,000 under what it should have cost to build it. We used the manager's risk to build a pool house, and we also worked directly with a pool contractor, not with a general contractor, which would mark it up about 20%. I've given you some bid tabulations and stuff from Vernon, and some pictures of the actual swimming pool was completed. And kind of the background on this thing, you really don't see it until you realize that we went through a process there, small group, focus group, planning, and we used young mothers, we used youth, we used junior high kids, had a group of elderly and business owners, and each one of those groups met and talked about the different things they would want on the swimming pool. So what we did is have the engineers combine all those features, like the young mothers like the zero entries, and then the younger children like to play in the river, and of course slide, and then everybody wanted the diving board with the deep end. So to minimize the wasted pool area, we had a pretty narrow diving pool area where still dive, but not waste a bunch of swimming pool. Typical square pools have half the pool occupied at all times, so you lose so much money when you build a pool like that. You can't have the space in there. This pool that we built, we spent $1 million on it, and then about $300,000 on engineering and the construction of the bath concession stand. It was about it was a $1.4 million project, and I was told many times after that it should have been at least a $2 million project, but the way it was built and much of the money very costly, and built a really good high-end swimming pool for not a whole lot of money. Now, I'll offer that. When we start looking at going forward on building the swimming pool, I think there's some things that we should do. We should get a good concept of what the pool will look like, and we really need that grassroots, input from the public for people to have some buy-in with it. Otherwise, it's just us 5 people deciding what we're going to do. We really want to, I think, a good idea to get the people to definitely say we need this, this, and this. And when you do that, I think you're going to go a lot further. And it might not be a bad idea to have an election or something along that line to make sure that the general public is still behind, building the swimming pool. And I think in order to have a good election and for people to really understand what's on the ballot, you need something to look at. You need a picture of what it's going to be. Otherwise, some people are thinking it's going to be this huge Taj Mahal type thing. And then some people are going to think it's something completely different. So, but once everybody has a good picture of what is out there and what's planned, I think that's the time to have the election. And once you know how much it's going to cost, a sure number or a really good estimate, a lot of times the estimates are going to be higher than what's actually going to cost to do it. But
So several years ago when we came up, the Parks Committee came up with a plan for the aquatic center. At that time, it was, the city was not in the, didn't have the ability, once the engineers had looked at everything and added cost, to fund the building of a pool. It was brought forth as a donation and there was a fund set up on the Parks Fund, and that money was dedicated toward the swimming pool project. As of today, it has roughly $213,000 in that property. So kind of at this point, Mitch has a plan that he was very successful with that adds more features into it than what that plan was came up with. There may be a way to blend those or something, but getting to the realm now, have the prison paid off by February 2021, that we're looking at the city being able to start cash flowing a bond service on this. And so, it's time to kind of start the discussion, and the donation deal is not working. There's, I think, 11 people that give a $2 base park fund fee, so there's 11 people are giving more, and some of those are $20 or 10, whatever the numbers are. So my idea was we've written 2 grants on this in 2017 and 2018. We've been denied we haven't officially been denied for the last one, but they're giving us indication that we're going to be denied. And so grants aren't working. And so kind of my thought is to put the Parks Committee back together for 30, 60 days, take comments, set forth these 2 sets of plans, the original plan the Parks Committee came up with, and Mitch's version of it, and ask the public, what do you like about this, what do you not like, what would you like to see changed? And then the Parks Committee come back and say, here's the plan that we want to submit to the City Council, and then go forward, get some preliminary engineering done, have a bond election possibly in November, and if the citizens decide they want a pool, we'll issue debt on it, $1.5 million, $1.8 million on a 15-year term is about $120,000 a year. At that time, by the time this takes, if this all just moves seamlessly and we had a bond election in November, began engineering and construction spring or summer of next year, our first payment on our bond is becoming due in 2021 when we're starting to retire the remaining amount of the prison debt. So cash flow becomes possible with that. But we've to the point now where we need to kind of start looking forward to be prepared for this. I know it's summertime and it's a topic of discussion. So that's kind of what we're bringing forth today is want to go back to the Parks Committee to revisit this and take comment for 30 or 60 days. Any questions or
Public
comments?
comments on this? Are there public comments on this?
No, the public comment was at the beginning of the meeting.
There's no public comments on this particular issue?
No, sir, that's okay. Handle it first.
Well, I personally think this is something that we need
Not necessarily me, I just think it's something that'd be good for the city. I mean, we need something here that's gonna not necessarily attract people, but you know, we're headed in the right direction as far as what we're doing out there in the commitment facility, what we have with the milk plant. My thing is, I mean, we've got a great school system, we got great facilities there. My thing is, what does the city of Littlefield offer to young families that might want to move here? What do we have to offer them that would want them to plant and start a family here instead of driving back and forth from Charlotte? I think this is a step in the right direction. I think with the what we have done as far as trying to get the debt paid off on the prison facility, I think this is just something that maybe we can give back, or at least give the citizens the option to make that decision, whereas the citizens really didn't have the option when it came to that facility out there.
That's why I think it's important that we do, we will have to issue a bond if we're gonna do this anytime immediately. And, you know, it was brought forth as a donation, optional deal. You know, if we're gonna go issue $1.5 million, $2 million worth of debt, I think the citizens need to be bought into that.
Absolutely.
So I think it should be a bond election for that.
I think the plan is a good plan. I think we need to, if we're going to do this, we need to do exactly how you were saying, get the committee together and get some input on it. So,
And for the record, I know there's lots of buzz on social media about the old Crescent Park pool. That was, 6 years ago that was studied pretty extensively. At the time, there was 2 different contractors that came out and looked at it. There are major issues with that pool. Also, the city does not own that location. It's owned by a Crescent Park Motel. They were willing to give it to the city for $1, but there was a tremendous amount of strings attached to it. And
things have changed a little bit since then.
I'm sure it has. But the cost of it,
That's something that actually is an option to look at, because then we wouldn't have to go out for a bond. If the repairs on it, if it was done the right way, it could be done very cheaply, and it could be the city's.
the 2 contractors that looked at it, their bid to do it properly was $750,000 without beginning on the building. So you've got an old car that you're about to dump a new motor in, it's still an old car. And it's not as great a location, and doesn't have all the amenities with the water slide, lazy river, things like that.
That's true, but there's nothing to do right now. Well, there's still, and there won't be unless we do something tonight, do something. Well, we look at that as an option. I mean, if we look at it and it's less than $750,000, it comes out to be something that the community get together and get behind, and use the money we have already donated, plus a little more, plus some donated services, and everything works that way. That's a good way to go. You don't have to worry about having a bond for 15 years.
All those stones were uncovered years ago, and we can go through that process again if you'd like.
That sounds like a good idea, because it's still an option. Well, I don't think that's going to really fix anything. The bottom line is Crescent Park. You know, I'm not saying that this is where we need to go. I just think that, again, you're throwing good money after bad on that. Why do that when you can come in here and you can start off with a fresh slate, have new facilities and everything that the citizens want? You know, we can take and incorporate that instead of having to build around what we already have. And that's going to be, we could find out what the citizens want. We could put it to an option. We have an option to do the Crescent Park Motel, and things work the way that it's cheap enough to get it done. Give them that option. Who says that they won't want that one over a $1.4 million water park? I know it sounds great, it sounds lovely, but then you also have that expense of that $1.4 million water park.
To remind everybody the conversation from 6 years ago, and even prior to that, I think the previous councils, of which you were a member at that time, we all closed that pool. The expansion joint in the middle of the pool leaks tens of thousands of gallons a day. It has a chlorine gas system, which is outlawed now, and it will have to be converted. All the coping around the edges has to be redone. The plumbing is all an issue. All of the concrete decking around it is in poor shape, is not handicap accessible, and all of the buildings are not up to code and new standards. So that is an option to explore that. I think during the time the Parks Advisory Committee's together, they want to look at that, and citizens think that's important. Y'all may want to consider that, but there is a Parks Advisory Committee that kind of has them more face-to-face with that, and they bring us a recommendation as a council, and we, of course, get the ultimate decision.
I just think we should discount that at first, so yes.
I make a motion, we reinstate the Parks or activate the Parks Committee to have public comments and meetings over the next 60 days regarding directive back to us on whether or how to move forward with the aquatic center.
I second that.
Motion's been made by Eric, seconded by Buddy. Is there any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next we'll discuss the annexation of land south of Marshall Howard Boulevard, including the TCC DCF Field Plate Detention Center and half of the roadway. Mitch?
This came up in some discussions, and so I thought I would put this out to the council. You guys can be directed on what we should do with this request. I've tried to come up with pros and cons on this thing. I mean, there's obviously depending on your position on this, should be more cons than pros, but these are the ones I came up with in just a little while. You got demographics improved by the annexation. There's also the loss of population when you just annexed it, which kind of hurts your own census. So I thought I'd throw this out there to kind of get the discussion started and sort of down direction on whether to deal with this or go on.
Underwood has looked at this some, their directive, whether this is something that council wants to pursue, and then they'll dive deeper into it as far as the de-annexation of that property. But one of the major issues is with our demographics and other census that's coming out. And Chief, are we number one in the country with sex offenders per capita, or what is our rank?
We're not number one, we're number two.
So to change our demographics, if we get that facility out of the city limits, it also, we are below the national average. Is that correct, Chief?
Yes.
So that is a big deal on our census and other issues as well. What y'all's thoughts on that?
We're going to change the numbers for Lake County.
Doesn't change the numbers for the county, but it does the city of Littlefield as we're going out to recruit economic development and looking. I mean, when you look to move into a city, researching the city more so than the county. There's also some other issues with this as far as voting in city elections. You know that this is also, there's been lots of conversation about that in the public of not thinking that it's appropriate that they're allowed to vote within the city elections. Another issue is there's frequent lawsuits annually from those residents out there. It's a little hard to fathom that somebody that is there against their will and that is not happy to be there and assumes the city, which is the landlord of the facility, can dictate city policy. But there's multiple reasons why requires a local agreement with the county for us to continue law enforcement out there. There's no question whether it's in our jurisdiction since we own it, but we definitely want to do a local agreement with the county to handle the law enforcement. And it also drops our crime rate because there's often some crimes out there, Chief.
Actually, since MTC has taken over out there, there has been a drop, but there's still incidences out there that affect our crime rate.
Is this something that y'all want to look at?
Well, I think we need to personally, again, this is one of those things that, when that facility was built initially, it was built with the intention of housing youth from the state, and those numbers being used for us for a good reason, for things. But now, since that is no longer being utilized in that manner, and then we had criminals from other states out here, using it as a maximum security prison. Obviously, when you're in prison, you don't have the right to vote, so it really just it didn't affect the city in that manner. Now that we have sexual offenders out there who have completed their criminal punishment, but they're being civilly committed. I found out personally from the last 2 years ago when I ran for city council that they were allowed to vote, and it took me by surprise. And according to state law, they have every right to vote. As long as they've been out there for 6 months, Littlefield is their home. They have the right to vote. We cannot deny them the right to vote. Because they are being civilly committed, they completed their punishment phase and everything, so their rights have been restored. That being said, it came to a lot of people's surprise when I told them that when I was knocking on doors, like, well, if they could vote, I don't think that they should have the right to vote. And upon explaining that to them, it kind of opened their eyes. And so not only does that affect the people who live in District 4, but it also affects the whole city when we come to a mayoral election like we had last time. I personally don't think that we need to have people who don't have a vested interest in the city of Littlefield to have a say-so on who our city elected officials are going to be. She did take policy. So my personal opinion is I think, yes, I'm going to make a motion that we
Just a discussion tonight.
or to move forward with this on seeing about this annexation of that property. And there's other things like Mitch pointed out on the pros as far as the demographics and these numbers affect us indirectly. I mean, yeah, they're out there but they do affect us, and I'm sure that with Justin over there, our new economic development guy, who's going to have to try to recruit businesses to come to Littlefield. I mean, that's something that they're going to look at, on top of our police, on our fire, and our EMS, and so there's something out there that we really need to pursue and look at doing.
I agree with most of what Mr. Rucker said. The biggest part about that is that just annexing that location doesn't make them go away.
It doesn't.
They're still going to be there. They're going to still be a part of what you said, the fire, the EMS, the police.
They're going to be there regardless. They're either going to be in Littlefield or they're going to be in BFE, but they're going to be somewhere.
But they're here because we had a contract with them that the city of Littlefield accepted to bring them here.
And
that wasn't their choice to come to Littlefield.
And because of that contract, we're able to get to where we're at on that bond debt. Okay?
Sure.
Because of some poor judgment or poor decisions made when that thing was built. But now, because of that, we're in a position where we can have that thing paid off in a couple of years and move forward to the growth of the city of Littlefield. It is what it is. And we need to control it as much as we possibly can, not them control us.
There's no further discussion. Mitch, I think that's something we want to explore further by consensus. Is there any other discussion on that item? Next, we will consider Texas Municipal League Health Re-rate and Employee Options. Mitch?
I've got this on there where it sounds like the action item is really not something that we usually do just in the office there is we do the health insurance with TML. Doesn't really affect the council members or anything, but it does affect the budget, and I'm not looking to change the budget or anything or increase it. Just kind of wanted to show you where what we're looking at and kind of the preamble to possibly dig into this a little bit closer this next year. They did give us, after that, I wrote the memo, they did give us a breakdown for some different kinds of plans. And I'm kind of pleased with what they've given us. Y'all don't have this. I just received it. I don't think. Janine, did you copy it?
No, sir.
Oh, thank you, copy it. Anyway, we were able to have some more options in here that I think will benefit our employees and have help us to with our recruitment. That's always a really good recruitment thing to be able to pull people in. So that's kind of basically it. I don't need any action on this. I just kind of wanted to show you what we're looking at on these health costs. It's a kind of a self-leveling thing, you know. Every time they go up $20, that's $20 decrease in pay for employees. So,
What is the employer contribution for healthcare?
$425 that the city puts in, but then the employee chooses different plans and however if it's going to be spouse, children, or spouse and children, and it's just pretty darn expensive. But you know, it's all expensive. So, kind of long story short, we've got some pretty good proposals here from TML, and I'm going to go ahead and renew this. But we may be coming back in a few months and looking at a different way to approach healthcare. We've been looking at that for about a year now, and just want to be very cautious on how we do it. I don't want everybody to be upset about their health insurance anymore than they already are. That's all I have on that. There's no action prior to that.
Any further discussion? If none, next we'll consider and approve an interlocal cooperative, next we'll consider and approve an interlocal cooperative purchase affiliate agreement regarding aerial mosquito spraying in the city of Kankakee.
I've been approached last couple of years, matter of fact, by Ransom Canyon, kind of spearheading this deal to try to get a lot of the smaller cities signed on with aerial mosquito control. And it's really, if I'm seeing all the numbers right, kind of inexpensive. Our guys are doing a great job, but they're spending a lot of time, a lot of effort spraying at night, and it's difficult to get some of the swampy areas we have, and this is a particular year that those swamp areas are a problem because of all the rain. I broke down the numbers there best I could. This is the consortium, is the one that comes out of Plainview, and you can see the list of cities that are signed on, and they have us as a possible city. We have about 2,000, maybe 2,300 acres of populated area within town. There's really about 4,000 total, but only about 20% populated area. Check locally, talk to Chuck Brown, and he's going to try to get geared up to maybe do this next year, but it was not possible for him to do this year because of some schooling and stuff that he would have to do. But, no hurry on this thing. I mean, this is an optional thing. If we sign on with this, they only go if we call them or if we decide to be in on the next flight that they do. We're claiming an 80% kill rate and, Ransom Canyon, they're only spraying twice a year. I don't know how, I've never had aerial spraying done for mosquitoes, so I don't have it. I can't draw from any experience on this, so. Frankly, I think this would be a good thing to have in our back pocket in case we get a situation where we just get bombarded with mosquitoes and we're not able to stay on top of them because of just windy situations or really wet situations. But don't want to run our guys down because they're doing a great job right now. They've actually done a really good job of knocking them down this year. But it's been a very expensive year. We've actually kind of a little bit more expensive than what I had in my memo if you want to look at the numbers a little closer.
Is that 19,500 this year's expenses on that, or is that per?
We've got about 19,500 for the chemicals are real expensive on this stuff.
Is this for the whole entire season?
The whole season.
Okay. What's the vector income on that?
What is it, 20? You remember, you gave me
For the year up to this point.
Annually. What we have in our budget? 40.
Yeah.
41.
I could see it as maybe a augmentation to our system. It's something I don't know a lot about other than they've been requesting that we consider it, and so a lot of these other cities are jumping on it. So,
Well, the one thing I would say is these guys are going out there at night doing this. It's extra money for them. Just take that money and take it to wherever this is done out of. That's taking money out of little people. So leaving those guys doing it, and then maybe cover those areas where they can't reach as well, the swampy areas, the lakes, whatever. That might be an idea.
we've got some equipment they've been testing to broadcast the larvicide out in, but still kind of problem there.
I mean, what do the guys say? I don't know. Maybe they don't like doing it at all and don't want to do it. What are their thoughts? What do they say?
Oh, I'm sure they appreciate the overtime.
We've got it in the budget and we're there for it. Why don't we just keep it that way? I would say. Unless we're not being effective. We're not being effective, then definitely make a change. But you say we're doing a decent job in town.
Personally, I feel like when I go outside, you go out of town and still just like it. You go out.
Chuck hasn't let you know if he could do it yet.
He can't this year. He could get next year's, but he said he's very interested. I would say he could probably match those prices. I don't think.
So it should be cheaper because he's not having a deadheaded garbage. Like a month ago when we had all the rain and had the huge blow up at the station, it makes sense to quickly get across the entire city aerial application. That our guys are doing the job most of the time, but it would be nice to have that option like a couple weeks ago, a month ago. If Chuck's able to do it, I think it makes sense to use a local guy.
So like I said, there's no urgency on this right now. The guys have got them knocked down pretty good. I'm pleased with where they're at.
On your flight cost breakdown, and that you got the amount of chemical that's used per gallon or whatever that they use. What are we using? Is it comparable? Or?
Ours is it's expensive. How much we pay?
It's like 2,500 a barrel.
And then how many barrels have we done? 10, right?
Probably done 6 at this point.
We're using that, what is it?
Well, they switched. They started this year with mosquito mist, and then they'll switch to mosquito master just to switch chemicals, and you actually get a better kill rate when you kind of.
There's kind of a science to it. They go to school and they get trained to calibrate. But
I mean, I kind of
do it.
agree with Eric. I mean, this year's been kind of unseasonably wet.
Yeah.
And then, we have that option, we call them in and say, hey, let's do this spray on and then maintain what we're doing now. But, keep it under control. It might not be a bad idea.
If y'all have the self-consensus, I'll just wait until Chuck can put some numbers together. What we do here,
I'll do what's the most cost effective for the city, but we're not under the gun right now to make a decision. And we'll give our local guys, John McKinney and Sudan, might get several bids. Is there any further discussion on that? None. We'll move on. At this time, we'll consider and approve amendments to the SCADA bid acceptance and budget amendment for SCADA radio upgrade. Mitch?
okay. What I was approached with last week, what we need to do is go in and amend the bid acceptance on this last bid for the SCADA and the maintenance SCADA. And what's happened is normally when we have a grant, there's some construction and different things in there that are, we can do a change order, and so it's a minor thing when change it. But with this, we're just basically buying equipment is what we're doing. So there's a difference in the amount of grant money once they counted it up and looked at it of $13,107. And so happens that the environmental clearance for the radio upgrade, why you have to have environmental clearance for radio upgrade, I don't know, but is not going to come in time for us to be timely on the budget. So that kind of creates the decision of do we leave that radio upgrade out until, say, budget time? It's not a budgeted item, or do we try to do it all in this year? Regardless of what you do, we absolutely need you to approve the amended bid acceptance sheet that you have in your page 200 here. We absolutely have to have that to be timely for this to finish up this grant. The big decision, though, is do we go ahead and finish the radio upgrade or wait till after October 1st when it would be a new budget cycle? I was talking to Kevin about it, and Kevin feels certain that they could get through it and wait till October, but I kind of feel like there's going to be some issues if we try to run two parallel software systems for the SCADA. And I just think there's going to be some big downside issues if we end up running out of water or something like that, and have some more expensive equipment because the SCADA system wasn't working properly. Kevin, is that kind of issue? There's Kevin.
I think he got a call, so yeah.
Well,
Engineers, did they mess this on this claims? Is that the problem?
I think, yeah, that's part of it, but, and I'm really disappointed in the performance on this grant, and y'all will know, because we did this thing 4 times, and I know they tried to get people to bid on it, but I guess just the atmosphere out there right now with the bidding is just not pretty good. And these consultants that we use for this type of work are busy in the oil field, and that's just been the problem. We can, not issue with cash flow as far as paying for the extra 12,150 in a separate project. If we just pay for it on its own, it doesn't have to have environmental clearance. That's all if it's covered in money. So if we take that out of the contract and that added volume, we take that out of the bid acceptance. We could do that as a separate item, and they can do it all at once.
There's a cost share with this grant, correct? And it's, what was it, 40% grant?
No, this was 15, 20. It's 55,000 is what we paid for the 303,000.
So our cost will come down, and once we take this out, this is 12,000 out, but we also
Will come down every time. Yeah, we're gonna pay out that match first.
But our risk is if we don't have this radio system, we're running two concurrent radio systems that's running the whole water system.
Yeah, and there's some other things to take into consideration too. If we come in later, it may not be 12 feet, count 150, it may be, you have mobilization costs too from the contractor. And that could be a real problem right there with the additional cost coming in. But one thing also kind of sideline on this is we were looking at having a budget about $25,000 next year for a software upgrade that is included in this grant. So there was some cost that was going to be associated with the SCADA next year that we won't have if we do this now.
So if y'all want to move forward with this, we at least have to approve an amended bid acceptance sheet, and then we'll also, if you want, to approve a budget amendment to pay for this radio control out of cash. Any thoughts on that?
I checked with Andrew and we can cash for the thing.
Did you address why number 8 wasn't included? Did you say why it wasn't included in the first place? Because in that letter in April, it says that you recommend to award line items 1 through 7 and 9, but 8's out. Why was it left out? Did you say?
Yeah, let me see.
And I don't see anything about the environmental.
Oh, no. This letter is a new letter from, it says 1 through 7 and 9. And in other words, take 8 out. That's what they're saying.
Right.
This is a new letter. But the old letter, the old bid was all of them. Yeah, it was all the additive alternatives in the bid. But then, because of the environmental clearance, this was added late in the project, and I think that's the reason that the engineers missed the
Who added it late in the project? Who added it late in the project?
the engineers. This project had to be changed up several times to try to get it to where we could, the bids, where we could get it done for the grant money that we were allotted. I'm not happy with the engineer stuff on this, but this should be everything cleared up.
When did we originally approve this grant?
It was in 2017. It's a grant. It's 2017 grant.
So this bid tabulation is from February 11th. When did we approve this bid originally?
Several months ago.
March, maybe.
So,
February 11th, it would have been at the end of February, March, April, May.
okay. So in March, that's when they would have put in the environmental request.
The environmental request, according to the grant writers, usually takes about 6 months. Which is crazy to me, when you have to have an environmental clearance to the radio.
And all of this was recommended by the engineering firm. They put all this together as far as the bid and everything.
What did we approve in March? The whole thing, or 1 through 7 and 9?
155, 207, that's what was approved.
That's what we approved. So then why are we even talking about this right now? If we approved that full amount in March.
Well, it's exactly the way I explained to you. Are you not listening?
It's very confusing to me as to why we approved it
I
already.
know it's hard to understand, but
Already got
the
it in.
fact is that 155 is $12,000 over the budget, plus that line item right there doesn't have environmental clearance. And we can't finish this grant up without the environmental clearance on that item. So we're gonna take that item out, or we won't get our deadline made on the grant, which is November. I don't know how to explain it any other way. It's not easy. It's
I don't
complicated.
understand this because I would think that if they put this bid together, they would know what they needed and when they needed it.
Absolutely.
So I know you're saying that this company is, whoever we're dealing with, Kimberly Horn, and this is the company that hasn't done a good job on this, and this is the
I'm
problem.
not happy with it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in future, on the business of Kimberly Horn.
That's right.
I'll second that.
Okay, so what is your recommendation to the council?
I recommend that you
Approve the amended
approve
bid.
the amended bid acceptance.
And the increased amount of expenditure for the radio system.
I would recommend that we go ahead and do the radio system outside the grant project in this fiscal year, so that we don't have a glitch or a problem.
That's part of the dollars we use that. I thought we already had approved that, but he said it's taken out, so I wasn't sure where the money went.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very confusing. I mean, I don't know what that's not.
Because if we hadn't approved it,
When
if we hadn't approved it in there, I wasn't certain. You said we did approve it. You said we did approve it with it in there, and then you said we didn't put it out. But that's where I think we already approved it. We've already approved that expenditure as a part of our.
At the engineer's recommendation, we approved a bid tabulation that was $13,000 too high.
$13,000 too high, which means it includes radios, which is what we're just about to pay for in this action.
But your bid tabulation is what the grant, it goes under the grant. So basically what you're doing is taking that $12,150 out of the grant, because it cannot be done in the grant. Because of the environmental.
Okay. Just make sure we're not sticking money into something that we have, because we've already approved that. We don't want to go ahead and pay whatever that is and then have to pay it again outside of the grant. So I want to make sure that's done right. That's the thing I want to make totally clear in this situation. It's clear as mud right now.
I make a motion to approve the amended bid acceptance sheet and approve the purchase of the radio system in this fiscal year.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? None. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion carries. Thank you for coming tonight. It's a good crowd tonight. We appreciate all your attendance. We are adjourned.
Wake up, guys.
I think so.
They do this, they approve that resolution on.
Yes, they did.
They approved it.
Hey, I told